It's time to get after the Saints and old friend Derek Carr. What does it look like, and who are the new faces coming up today on Locked On Chiefs?
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is game day coming at you for Monday Night Football against the New Orleans Saints. We are primed for it. You can get primed by going to LinkedIn Jobs and finding your qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions do apply. Terms and conditions apply to getting this win. Where are we going to go after it? I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. You can see my work over at NFL33.com and my home at RGR Football, let alone the NFL. This is Chris Clark, the guy that runs KC Chiefs Corner, where he's going to give you all the stats breakdowns, the cap breakdowns, and everything you need to know. Go check him out over there. Get liked and subbed on both those Substacks and check it out. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the YouTube side. Like and sub that, and then check out Spotify and Apple for all of your podcast needs. And anywhere you can get a free show, you can get us 5 days a week. The locos know that. They listen every single day. We want you to be a loco as well. You can get that much extra at the text line at 816-357-8781. What do they have to do to get this done? There's going to be a couple of X factors, and we're going to give you our predictions later in the show, so hold tight for that. There are some must-win matchups. That's coming up a little bit later as we tell you the eyes to watch and who can make the difference. But it starts where it generally ends, and that is Patrick Mahomes against ex-quarterback, who this time happens to be Derek Carr, was the last quarterback to get a sneaky win that really put, I think, last season in jeopardy philosophically. It ended up firing them up for the whole postseason run. But this is because Derek Carr, whatever you think of him, knows this team and knows Spags. This has been a battle for a long time. He's crafty. He's a veteran. He can get things done. And I don't think that his decline, I think that's been overrated. I don't see him falling apart yet. Do you?
I don't think he's fallen apart, but I do think that there are some issues in his game, and it's kind of come out the past 2 weeks. After the first 2 weeks of the season, having a high-flying offense, scoring 40 points a game, the Saints just looked like they were going to roll over everybody. And over the past couple of weeks, you've seen a different Derek Carr and a different Saints offense. Now, some of that is going to be due to injuries on their offensive side, and they're going to be without their center and Cesar Ruiz, who is a huge loss for them, to be clear on that. Yeah. So that's a big loss. But I think that plays into some of this. It's not going to play into all of it. That is a position that Chris Jones will need to take advantage of with the backup center in there. But the Saints and the Chiefs are relatively healthy going into this game. Chiefs should have everybody available that's on their active roster, and it looks like the Saints will be down a couple of players, including Willie Gay, who won't play. But offensively, I think that they're going to be in good shape. They won't have Taysom Hill. That'll change things too.
A bit, although Taysom's been out for, a couple of weeks now. And It does give a nice wrinkle to their offense there, but it isn't the bread and butter. And quite frankly, isn't something that I think the Chiefs needed to be concerned with. It is, as we're going to give you a couple of other guys that need to be concerned with matchup-wise coming up in the next segment. This is all about the quarterbacks. At the end of the day, anything that you're going to get done, it's going to be the quarterback versus the quarterback and how you support them. And I think while this rolling mash unit that is going through Kansas City continues to evolve, it's about the next guy stepping up. Luckily, the guys that have to step up are guys that have played in this offense for quite a bit. Juju Smith-Schuster definitely has some experience. Michael Hardman, years and years, right? Even if you get down, Sky Moore's been on the field more than maybe we realize because he hasn't been targeted as much. And even that, he's been in the offense 3 seasons now. So even though you're having to dig deeper down the depth chart to provide that support to Patrick Mahomes, I do think that is the advantage over what Carr has in trying to go a little bit deeper down his depth chart as well. He's got a couple of targets, but this is clearly the advantage of Mahomes for me.
Yeah, and I think the big thing when you look at this is Spags knows Derek Carr. He's played against him a ton. I talked a lot about this in the crossover episode I did with Ross Jackson last week. So if you haven't checked that out, go back and check out Thursday's episode. A lot of great information there. But the reality is if you pressure Carr, he is not going to play well. And you have to pressure him, though, without blitzing him. He's very good against the blitz this year. He's got a 70% completion percentage against the blitz. But if you can get pressure on him without blitzing, his completion percentage goes down to 46%. That is a huge disparity. And he's throwing around 70% to begin with most of the time, or 80% when he's kept clean. So you definitely need to find a way to get pressure on him, but you have to do it without blitzing. And I think that's going to be a huge key in this game. And you're right. Chiefs have guys that on their depth chart that can step in, that know the offense. Saints do a little bit too. But the question is who's going to step up and take advantage. And that's what we're going to find out on Monday night.
It's going to come down to that battle, the mechanics of what you show versus what you bring for each quarterback. Now, Patrick's been, I think, flustered a little bit, I will say prematurely. He's left a couple of pockets he didn't have to. I think it's just a little bit of too much pressure in his face, especially from the left-hand side. So that's something that if you can settle down, I think, again, he'll be able to be a little bit more routine. And I do feel that he will raise his level of play, knowing that he's playing against Carr, who he probably understands and respects, that can raise his game back at him if he needs to.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge deal. Mahomes has to be able to get set in the pocket and just be able to step into his throws, be a little bit more accurate, and use his mechanics. That is, I think, what you've missed the first 4 weeks of the season. And just about all those picks that he's thrown have come in situations where he is throwing off his back foot or throwing off platform just a little bit, and it really changes his accuracy and his ability to make plays.
Yeah, it all comes down to that. As the quarterbacks go, this game goes. But there are a number of other matchups you have to get some wins at in order to keep this from being another nail-biter. You want to win by more than a couple of points, right? This is how you get it done. Those matchups are coming up next.
When you're hiring for a small business, you want to find the quality professionals with the right fit for the right role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. It has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team. I'm always looking at LinkedIn. It isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you find professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively looking or searching for a new job might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. It goes down the easiest way to post your job for free is on LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. Honestly, my biggest fear is probably heights. As funny as it is that I'm 6'5", heights scare the crap out of me, and I hate anytime I have to get up on a ladder and do things like that. And I still want to go skydiving. So that's just kind of a funny thing that I enjoy. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOn today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOn. BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOn.
Now, when you come down to facing an opponent you know pretty well, it's about who could support players the best. If you want to support us, make sure you like, sub, hit that bell, get over to KC Chiefs Corner and NFL 33 and RGR Football and help us out there as well. That is support. But when it comes to the matchups that are going to support the quarterbacks, I think there's a couple key ones here. And I'll let you hit the big one that I think I know where you'll go, but I will set it up on the opposite side for the Chiefs defense. It's about attacking Felice Fuaga. Rookie left tackle, a guy who played right tackle in college and is not, I won't say the most mobile, not the best athlete out there. He's pretty smooth for his size, but it's his power and his reach that are his advantages. You're going to get more Mike Dana because he'll be available. You're going to get, I think, the best matchup in Felix Anudike-Uzomah because he's got nearly the same arm length. Now, Flog can deliver power through his arm reach a little bit better than Felix can, but that counter off of that length is, I think, going to be the key. And knock on wood, we should see Cam Thomas more than 3 snaps this week. So I just want to see wave after wave after wave attacking the rookie who was limited in practice all week and starting on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see how that turns out. Honestly, the biggest matchup for me is going to be Kansas City versus Alvin Kamara. And I'm talking defensive line and linebackers. I think Kamara, if you look at their offense, he is the engine that makes that offense go. And if you can slow him down, if you can get the running game stalled, which is something that Kansas City has done very good at so far this season. And with Mike Dana coming back, should be something that they should be able to be even better at than they were last week. I do think that could be a huge thing in this game, because then you put Carr in a situation where he has to pass to beat you. And while he does have better weapons than he ever really had in Las Vegas or Oakland when they were there, he is still dealing with, being himself. And Spagnuolo knows how to get in his head. He knows that if he hits him, he's going to get him flustered and it's going to cause issues. And I do think that plays out. So to me, it's a question of, can the defensive line take a step up and get to Alvin Kamara, stop him in the running game? And can they slow him down when they break him out in the backfield and pass him the ball when you're talking about the linebackers? Because that's going to be a huge matchup too.
And that feeds right into my other point. His matchup when released from the line, especially if they're going to move safeties out there, I think that's where they're going to have to go to try to contain that. But that leaves you light in the box. I don't think any of these linebackers are going to be able to contain Kamara in the pass game. So it's pick your poison. I know Spags will mix it up. But uncharacteristically, he is the second leading receiver on this Saints roster in terms of receptions. Targets, it's a little bit different, but it's really a 3-headed monster. So, yes, you have to contain him there in the pass game as well. But it comes down to the first pass option is Chris Olave. He's missed a little bit of time this season, but he's on an 83% catch percentage. He does lead in catches for the season, but that's not it. You have to take him away and expect Trent McDuffie to be all over. I hope that they let him travel and they do that one-on-one matchup. But you got to keep an eye on Rashid Shaheed because he does have that speed to go over the top, and he has got teams sleeping. These guys have 15, 17, and 20 receptions respectively. It is a 3-headed monster. Not with anybody else inside. Foster Moreau's a distant option there. It is Alvin Kamara with the 2 receivers. So do you go more zone? Do you go more man? I man up Olave, and I zone up everything else if it's me and Spags.
Yeah, and I think I could get behind that. And the one thing I will say is Olave has missed time, and he is dealing with a hamstring. He was full. He'll be playing, but that's something to watch. He's not going to have the explosion. He's not going to have the ability that he normally would have. You think he's still going to be just a little bit limited, even if it's just a little bit that could make a difference. To me, you look at the other side of the ball, and it's going to be a matter of, we talked about being able to run the ball, and it's a question, okay, Kansas City's rush ability this year has been off the charts compared to where they have been in the past. And Isaiah Pacheco did really well early in the season. Carson Steele had a good game. And then last week, Kareem Hunt stepped in and had a good game. Hunt was limited this week, but it looks like he's going to be able to play through the shoulder injury, and he'll be good to go. So it's a question to me of can you continuously get into situations where your rush ability is going to help this offense, because they have been fantastic at keeping the ball moving down the field by rushing it. And that is something I was not expecting to see with this offense. And it becomes an even bigger issue with a guy like Rashee Rice out and without Hollywood Brown. And at this point, you have to just do what you can to try to figure out a way to get through the next couple of weeks. And you have a bye week coming up next week, so you can start to try to plan on how you're going to attack things in the next part of the season after this week. But I think running the ball and the matchup with Kareem Hunt and the Saints defense is going to be something that's going to be a huge key in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And you have 3 backs that you can use. I know that it's been frustrating to watch the ball hit the ground with Carson. I think that's going to get corrected. I don't know. I think he'll probably be the least of the 3 used this week, but you have 3 viable options with Samaje Perine that I think can do a bit of everything. And then after the bye, you're looking at getting Clyde back. So it's use everybody without stressing Hunt out too much, especially given the shoulder. So just rotate them through, continue to move the ball, play with balance. That's probably the number one to really counteract what you have there.
Well,
but that's a plan.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I think that they really need to get Samaje back into a third down role because that's where he thrives. And I think that using him to run the ball at times on first and second down, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I would rather see Carson Steele come in and spell Hunt. I apologize. If that is necessary. And I know, people are anxious because he's put the ball on the ground. I get that too. But to me, you brought Samaje Perine in to be a third down back. You brought him in to give you a different thing on offense that you could do and to be that guy that can be out there on third downs, protecting Mahomes, stepping up in the pocket and being able to leak out of the backfield and make plays that way too. And I don't think that they've used him the way that they want to because of all the other injuries that they've been dealing with. And to me, if you can get him in that role, I think that's a huge win for this offense. The other big question, and this is my other big matchup, it's going to be Travis Kelce versus Tyrann Mathieu. I don't know that Matthew's going to see him every single snap or a majority of the snaps even, but I expect that Matthew is going to be going up against Kelce plenty, and they had a ton of time going against each other in practice.
It does help when you know each other that well. The battle gets a little bit intense now. Travis a little bit slower, Tyrann a little bit slower. That's going to be, I think, something that could stand out. But that's all in a plan. There's always some curveball that comes in. What are the X factors? How will they adapt? And what are our predictions coming up next?
Hey there, NFL fans. You can get started right now with a big return with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Takes the life out of your middle there. And so when you have that hunch in the middle of a ball game or in the middle of the day on a packed Sunday with a full slate, you can check the latest stats, check out the live play-by-play, and get that so deep into the game that you can make your decisions and go on the same page to place your bets. Makes life super simple. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. It's over at FanDuel. There's a lot of options there, especially when Patrick's throwing interceptions early or we're running the ball really good. You never know what's going to happen, but if you have a gut feeling, check it out at FanDuel.com.
Make sure you like, sub right here on this channel because this is where we are. We're going to be live post-game. Don't miss that. And you can always get more at KC Chiefs Corner and NFL 33 and RGR Football, all of our other outlets. It all ties into what we do here. Thanks for listening to us. Check out another Locked On show for your next one. And when it comes to X factors, this team on the defensive side, the Saints are susceptible. And going back to the run game, I think that's perfectly sound, and I'm glad I didn't have to say it first, so I appreciate you. That said, when you look at the top tacklers on this team, it's Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor. They're corners. Those are the guys that are having to make the plays because the rest of the group is susceptible. Now, Adebo, to his credit, has had a couple of takeaways, as has Tyrann Mathieu. So you got to be a little bit careful there. But there's plenty of room to attack. Pete Werner's likely going to be banged up if he plays at all. They just got Demario Davis back. So the second level is certainly where I would attack and let those corners have to come down and make those tackles. So that comes into feeding out of the slot, hitting the arrow routes out of the backfield, and feeding Travis Kelce. As much as I don't want to put too much on Travis, unless you're going to run Juju on some of those drags and shorts and set up Xavier for the home run, I think it's Travis that you're going to have to start with.
It's funny. 2 weeks ago, I would have never said that this was going to be an X factor. But to me, I do think that there is going to be a situation where you could look at this game and know that with the Chiefs being down as many wide receivers as they are and the playmakers that they've had at wide receiver that they've lost, they just activated Jody Fortson. I fully expect that you're going to see more 13 personnel and maybe even 14 personnel in this game against the New Orleans Saints because it's something that they haven't used a ton of, but they get Fortson back. Fortson can do some things that are, I'm not going to say he's a wide receiver, but wide receiver-esque in some ways. He has the ability to do that, but he also gives you the ability to maybe run more of a 13 set that you haven't felt comfortable with because you don't think Wiley is there. And Kansas City has run out of 14 personnel before in T-Rex when Fortson was here before. So whether or not they actually get back to that this week, we'll see. But I do think that you're going to have 4 tight ends available for this game Monday night, and I think that's going to be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see him back. Some of my favorite plays have actually come for Jody Fortson when he is lined up wide. So whether it's for tight ends as a group,
Yep.
I'm hoping to see him as the big slot out wide, taking either some of Travis's snaps there, or in particular, I want to see them stacked to the same side. So you can run quick screens with Travis behind Jody Fortson and let Jody do the dirty work because he's willing to do it. He always has been. As long as he's healthy, it should be no problem. But I think the size factor plays into going against those corners that we were just talking about. So I like the concept there. Just mix and match, and how you use it is going to be, I think, the most intriguing part of what Andy chooses to do. Because I don't think it can be the traditional inline, let's go jumbo package with 3 attached tight ends and one guy split out. You know what I mean? I would rather not see that.
I generally agree with you. I don't think that they're going to do that. But with the 4 tight ends that they have, I think you have the ability to run that from time to time. And the defense, generally speaking, when you do that, is going to expect the run. And I would say all 4 of those guys, although 3 of them have really shown it in the NFL so far, could break plays. Noah Gray, Jody Fortson, and Travis Kelce can all break plays coming off the line of scrimmage. It's not Jody Fortson's best position. It's not Noah Gray's best position. Obviously, probably not even Travis Kelce. But it does give you formations that you can use where they're going to expect you to run it. And maybe in a situation like that, you have the ability to leak out a tight end and get him wide open for a touchdown, or maybe a big 3rd down conversion or a 4th down conversion if you get in that scenario.
And you don't have either of your best linebackers in Willie Gay. Likely, it's questionable whether Pete Warner will play. I'm leaning towards not, given what I saw, but who knows? Maybe he's made a miraculous recovery. Either way, he won't be 100%. So that does make a lot of sense. Where will they attack? That's to be seen. How will they get it done? What do you think happens in this ballgame?
Man, it is the tale of 4 games for the Saints. And you look at the first 2 games, like I said earlier, they're scoring 40 points a game. The past couple of games, they're just struggling to move the ball at times. And that's really the big question, is what kind of game are you going to get from Kansas City as well? I mean, they've had times where their offenses look fantastic. But at the same time, you also have times where they turn the ball over 2 drives in a row, like they did last week against the Chargers. And you cannot do that and expect to continue to win games. So my big thing is they need to find a way to start flipping that turnover differential, because right now I believe they're -4 in the turnover differential, and they're the only team that I think has a winning record that is even that far down in the negative turnover differential. Obviously, Sunday's games change that a little bit, but generally speaking, that's the way that works. So to me, I think Kansas City wins this game. I look at it as mainly it's going to be who do I trust more, Patrick Mahomes or Derek Carr? And what I would say is I trust Patrick Mahomes more. He hasn't played as well as Derek Carr has at times this year. But the thing that Mahomes has going for him is he's not going to be going up against a guy like Steve Spagnuolo, who is generally always frustrated him. Yeah, he's going up against a good defense and a good defensive coordinator, but it's not the same as what Derek Carr is going to be dealing with Spagnuolo, who knows Carr very well from all the times they played together. So I'm looking at this game, and I'm going to say probably 27-20, 27-21, somewhere in there.
I feel where you're coming from. I just have a much more dismal look at what the Saints have done to this point. The 2 games that they won handily were against 2 of the worst defenses in this league.
It's true.
And it's not even close, the Panthers and the Cowboys. So I don't feel it's going to be that great. 20 might be pushing it. I was going to go 17, but maybe you talked me into 20. But I do feel the balance in reverse is I don't think Patrick gives up the ball this week. I think they're either even or win the turnover battle. I think that makes all the difference. And you get 9 possessions going, of which I think several score. I have this 31-20 for the Chiefs going away. Let us know what you think. Put your predictions down in the comments here on YouTube. We'd love to see it.
And the crazy thing, and I can't remember exactly how many games this is at, but Kansas City hasn't allowed more than 26 points, and I think something like 15 or 16 or 17 games going. I don't think that changes this week. I think that this defense has started to lock in. And the one thing that I will say that we have seen week after week after week, I do think the Chiefs give up a touchdown in the first drive of the game because they've done it every single game this year so far. But I think that they adjust and they start making plays. And I think the return of Mike Dana is going to be bigger than a lot of people would think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mike puts in good work. Let us know what you think is going to happen down below. Hit us everywhere that you can, including at Locked On Chiefs on Twitter, or X, whatever we call it these days. Appreciate your time. Hope that you enjoy your Monday as we run up Monday Night Football and another chance for the nation to get a look at these Kansas City Chiefs. Have a good one. We appreciate you being with us, and we'll be back live post-game with Matt Derek. Don't miss that as we break it all down. We appreciate your time. Have a good Monday. We'll talk to you then.